I woke up to a text message at precisely 3 a.m. I had just finished the final decorations on a complex wedding cake, a project that had kept me at my bakery well after midnight. Don't bother coming home. I've changed the locks. Your stuff's in garbage bags on the front lawn. Enjoy sleeping in your car. I read the message, my flower-covered hands strangely steady. After a 12-year marriage, this text from Nathan was his way of ending things, attempting to make me homeless. The only visible sign of my collapsing world was a minor tremor in my fingers as I added the last sugar flour to the 6-tier cake. My name is Emily Carter, and at 38, I owned one of Boston's most popular specialty bakeries. However, according to Nathan, my husband, my work wasn't a real career. He, a high-powered corporate lawyer, saw it as me merely playing with sugar while he did the actual work. His contempt had intensified over the past year, particularly since he became a partner at his firm and bought our dream home, a grand brownstone in Beacon Hill, where I had envisioned us starting a family. That dream, it seemed, was now over. His next text confirmed my fears. Don't even think about coming after the house. Check your signature on the quitclaim deed you signed last month, remember? I did remember last month. I recalled every detail, including the hidden camera I'd set up in my home office after finding suspicious documents in the printer history. I remembered Nathan pushing paperwork at me, insisting it was just standard property tax forms, ensuring I was too preoccupied with the charity event to notice. Most importantly, I remembered not signing anything. Nathan was unaware that I had been discreetly observing him for months. The warning signs had started small. Password changes on our shared accounts, hushed phone calls, and discrepancies in his work billing records. But it was the draft quitclaim deed in our printer tray that truly set off alarms. The following morning, I consulted with Maya Patel, a divorce attorney. She listened intently before advising. Gather everything, keep him in the dark, and be ready. And so I did. I set up cameras, archived emails, and photographed every suspicious document. I monitored financial transactions and bided my time. My phone buzzed again. By the way, I already filed for divorce. You'll be served tomorrow. Don't even try to fight it. You can't afford to. Should have picked a real career instead of playing around in a bakery. I carefully packed the wedding cake. Years of handling delicate sugar sculptures had taught me patience, precision, and foresight. Nathan had always underestimated my meticulous nature, not realizing it was the key to my business's success. Instead of returning to his, Beacon Hill home, I drove to the apartment I had secretly leased 3 months earlier, when I first suspected his intentions. The security deposit had come from my business account, one of many measures I had taken to maintain financial independence. Nathan had advocated for combined finances early in our marriage, arguing that couples shouldn't keep money separate. I had insisted otherwise, engaging my own lawyer to establish clear legal safeguards for my business. He had dismissed it as me being difficult. Now it was going to cost him dearly. Another message arrived. Oh, and don't stress about your little bakery. My client is very interested in that location. Prime real estate. Followed by, already told my family you had a mental breakdown. They are so supportive. Mom always said I could do better than a baker. And finally, maybe if you'd gone to law school instead of wasting time at that culinary institute, you'd actually understand what you signed. I calmly captured screenshots of each message, adding them to my growing file of evidence. Then, I called Maya, my lawyer. It's time. He just tried to lock me out and claims I signed a quitclaim deed. Did you? She asked. No, and I have video proof of him forging my signature. There was a brief silence before she responded, her voice now sharper. Perfect. I'll file for an emergency hearing first thing in the morning. And Emily. She paused, then added, I don't think Nathan has any idea what's about to hit him. I ended the call and opened my laptop. The footage from my home office camera was unambiguous. Nathan, seated at my desk, meticulously practicing my signature before forging it on the quitclaim deed. The date and timestamp were irrefutable. In another tab, I accessed the files I had compiled over months: bank statements showing large transfers to a hidden account, emails with his client discussing plans to tear down my bakery and build luxury condos, and most damningly, recordings of Nathan bragging to his brother about his plan to take everything, now that he no longer needed my bakery's income to qualify for the house mortgage. A final text appeared on my screen. "Hope you saved some money. Boston's expensive when you're single. Oh wait, you blew it all on that industrial oven last year." I exhaled slowly, reflecting on that oven and the 3 additional bakery locations I had quietly opened in Cambridge, Brooklyn, and Newton, all registered under a holding company Nathan knew nothing about, funded by profits he had been too arrogant to notice. Another buzz. "Real estate in Boston is a man's game, sweetheart. Leave it to the professionals." I forwarded the message to my lawyer, then opened the real estate records my accountant had prepared. Nathan was correct about one thing: real estate was a game, but he didn't know I had been playing it far more skillfully than him. "Additionally," my attorney continued, "we have clear evidence that Nathan Carter, as a senior partner at his firm, has been actively representing a developer attempting to acquire Emily Carter's business property while simultaneously orchestrating a scheme to strip her of her legal rights to it. This is a direct ethical violation, which we will be reporting to the Bar Association." Nathan leaped to his feet. "Your Honor, I can explain." "Sit down, Mr. Carter," Judge Martinez said coolly. "Ms. Carter's counsel, proceed." My lawyer placed another thick folder on the judge's bench. "We also have correspondence proving that Mr. Carter conspired with his client to force Ms. Carter out of her business location post-divorce. However," she said with a knowing smile, "that plan had one fatal flaw." She slid another document forward. "Ms. Carter doesn't lease her bakery space. She owns the entire building through her holding company, Carter Holdings LLC. In fact, she owns multiple commercial properties across the Boston metropolitan area, all financed through her highly successful bakery enterprise." Nathan's face paled, his bravado crumbling. I finally looked at him, recalling every condescending comment about my little cake hobby. "And one more thing," my lawyer continued, flipping to another set of documents. "Our financial records indicate that Ms. Carter's bakery generates annual revenues well into 8 figures, substantially more than Mr. Carter's salary as a law firm partner. In fact, she has been the primary financial provider throughout their marriage, a fact Mr. Carter deliberately concealed when applying for the mortgage on their Beacon Hill home." The judge examined the paperwork, her expression unreadable, then turned her sharp gaze to Nathan. "Mr. Carter, would you care to explain why you forged your wife's signature on a quitclaim deed?" Nathan's attorney frantically whispered to him, but he pushed the man's hand away. "Your Honor, this is clearly a fabrication." "The footage is time-stamped and has been verified," my lawyer interjected smoothly. "Furthermore, we have uncovered evidence of financial misconduct. Mr. Carter has been diverting funds from their joint accounts. Ms. Carter has meticulously documented every unauthorized transaction." Judge Martinez's expression hardened. "Mr. Carter, as an officer of the court, you should be well aware of the gravity of fraud and forgery. I am issuing an immediate freeze on all shared financial accounts pending forensic review. Additionally, I am granting Ms. Carter's request for a restraining order, barring you from the marital residence, effective immediately." Nathan surged forward in protest. "That house is mine." "Actually," my lawyer said, barely suppressing a grin, "the property is owned by Carter Holdings LLC, Miss Carter's company. Miss Carter provided the full down payment and has covered every mortgage payment since the purchase. Mr. Carter's name is nowhere on the deed." The moment the words left her mouth, realization dawned in Nathan's eyes. He had spent years boasting about his dream home, never once verifying that he legally owned it. "That's impossible," he muttered, his voice shaking. "She's just a baker." "A baker who built a multi-million-dollar enterprise and holds a substantial real estate portfolio. Judge Martinez corrected sharply. Mr. Carter, I am also referring this case to the Bar Association for ethics review. Forgery, financial fraud, and professional misconduct are serious infractions. Nathan slumped in his chair just as his phone buzzed. He hesitated before glancing at the screen and immediately went pale. I knew exactly what he was seeing. The very same message I had just sent to his entire firm. Attached was the video of him forging my signature, alongside emails detailing how he had planned to use his position as a law firm partner to force me out of my own building. Seconds later, another message popped up from his managing partner. Nathan, clear out your office by the end of the day. We'll be reviewing all of your client accounts. The courtroom was silent, except for Nathan's shallow breathing. Judge Martinez delivered her final ruling. Given the overwhelming evidence of fraud, I am granting Ms. Carter's divorce petition on the grounds of misconduct. Mr. Carter, you are to vacate the marital home immediately. We will reconvene in 2 weeks regarding asset division. Though given Ms. Carter's financial independence, I suspect this will be a very short proceeding. As the judge adjourned, Nathan's mother approached, having sat through the entire spectacle in stunned silence. Emily, she stammered, her gaze flickering between me and her disgraced son. I had no idea. Nathan told us your bakery was struggling, that you needed his financial support. I smiled, remembering all the times she had dismissed my career as a cute little hobby. My bakery supplies desserts to every luxury hotel in Boston, I said evenly. That hobby paid off Nathan's law school debt, financed his car, and funded the house he just lost. I gestured toward the door. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have 4 locations to oversee. Nathan's head snapped up. 4? He choked out. The development plans only showed 1. I let out a soft laugh. You never paid attention to what I was actually doing, Nathan. You were too busy scheming to realize that I was always 2 steps ahead. I hope you enjoy moving back in with your parents. I hear the guest room is lovely this time of year. 1 month later, I sat in my office overlooking Boston Harbor, reviewing the blueprints for my next project, my 5th bakery location. Nathan's former firm had quietly settled my civil suit, paying out a hefty sum rather than facing a public scandal. Meanwhile, the Bar Association had suspended his law license pending an ethics investigation. As I skimmed through my emails, my phone vibrated with a new message from Nathan's brother. Emily, I know it's awkward to ask, but would you consider catering my wedding? Mom keeps raving about your raspberry cream cake. I smirked, glancing at the society page announcement I had just approved. Carter Holdings acquires historic Beacon Hill block. The very block where Nathan had once purchased what he thought was his dream home. Revenge was sweet, but having my ex-mother-in-law publicly admit she craved my desserts? That was delicious. And the framed property deed for Nathan's former house hanging on my office wall? That was just the icing on the cake. I considered his request for a moment, a playful smile tugging at my lips. Tell your mother I appreciate her newfound appreciation for my baking, I replied. And yes, I'd be delighted to cater your wedding. Family discount, of course. I knew the offer would irritate Nathan, a petty but satisfying victory. My phone buzzed again, this time a notification from a local news outlet. Local baker's empire expands, acquires prime real estate. The article detailed Carter Holdings' latest acquisition, highlighting my meteoric rise from a small-time baker to a real estate mogul. I chuckled, imagining Nathan reading the article, his face contorting with a mixture of rage and disbelief. The past few weeks had been a whirlwind. I'd finalized the divorce, hired a top-notch security team for my businesses and my home, and even started exploring potential locations for my 6th bakery, perhaps in New York or Chicago. I was busier than ever, but it was a good kind of busy, the kind that came with building something meaningful, something entirely my own. Later that evening, as I was leaving my newest bakery in Newton, I saw a familiar figure standing across the street. It was Nathan, looking disheveled and defeated, his expensive suit replaced with rumpled clothes. He hesitated, then started to cross the street towards me. I braced myself, ready for another confrontation, another round of accusations and insults. But as he drew closer, I saw something different in his eyes. It wasn't anger or resentment, but something akin to regret. "Emily," he began, his voice hoarse. I wanted to apologize." I raised an eyebrow, surprised by his unexpected words. "For everything," he continued. "For underestimating you, for everything I did." I studied him for a moment, searching for any sign of insincerity, any hint of manipulation. But his gaze was steady, his expression earnest. I was so focused on my own ambitions, on what I thought success looked like, that I failed to see yours, he admitted. I was a fool. A wave of conflicting emotions washed over me. Anger, sadness, and a strange sense of pity. Part of me wanted to lash out, to remind him of all the pain he had caused, but another part of me, the part that had once loved him, felt a pang of sympathy. "I accept your apology, Nathan," I said finally, my voice surprisingly calm. "But apologies don't change the past. What's done is done." He nodded, his shoulders slumping. "I know," he said quietly. I wanted you to know that I was wrong. You're not just a baker, Emily. You're incredible." A faint smile touched my lips. "Thank you, Nathan," I said. "I appreciate that." We stood there in silence for a moment, the distance between us feeling both vast and insignificant. "So," he said finally, breaking the silence, "what happens now?" I looked at him, then at my bakery, its windows glowing warmly in the evening light. "Now," I said, "I keep building, I keep creating, I keep proving everyone, including myself, what I'm capable of." And with that, I turned and walked away, leaving Nathan standing alone on the sidewalk, a solitary figure in the shadow of my ever-growing empire. The sweet aroma of baking bread and pastries, the fruits of my labor, filled the air, a constant reminder of how far I had come and how much further I intended to go. The bitterness of betrayal had faded, replaced by the sweet taste of success. A success earned, not given. A success that was entirely, undeniably mine. And the cake? Well, it kept getting bigger and sweeter with every passing day.